babes. I am so excited for today's guest. I have Stephanie Bellinger on, and she is a spiritual mentor, master practitioner, and trainer of NLP and the creator of Spiritual Boss Babe. It's one of the largest communities online. She has a podcast serving tens of thousands of spiritual entrepreneur women around the world. And I found her on Facebook while I was connecting to my purpose and trying to find it. And she really helped me lead the way and kind of like feel supported and guided. And she's helped women activate their star power, embody their highest expression of self, and fully own their gifts. So I'm super excited to have her on. We're going to get into spirituality, multidimensional beings, growth, challenges, all of the above. So we'll see where this goes. So go ahead and say hi to the audience and feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having me, Tia. I'm so excited to be here and trust that lots of magic will unfold through our conversation. And I'm really excited to share with your audience whatever comes through.
Awesome. Yes. Okay. So I've been following you pretty much before I started being a coach. So over 6 years
Wow.
ago.
So
So
like
when did,
2018, 17?
yeah, I started about 2017-ish, I believe. And
Wow.
I was just so sick of working, and I kept seeing your posts. I joined the community, and I remember you kept saying like, follow your purpose, like follow what you love. And I just kept doing that, and it kept leading away. So yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So how did you find your way? How did you find your purpose? And what is your purpose?
I believe that our purpose isn't something that we find, it's something that we are, and it's something that finds us
Mm-hmm.
through following what we love. And
Mm-hmm.
so I believe I have always been following my purpose, and it's just shifted and evolved and transformed as I have. And so I started with being a makeup artist. And at that time, I went all in with it and really loved art. I've always been an artist first and foremost. And I loved supporting other people and feeling amazing about themselves. So that's always been like a common theme. And so after the makeup, I used to design bras and corsets. And then I became a personal trainer. And when I became a personal trainer, I realized I wanted to go deeper with people. I realized, I want to really support people in transforming their lives. And for me, my first taste of personal development really was fitness and working out and taking care of my body. And then that evolved and expanded into I want to really support people in, living out their purpose, whatever that is, and creating a life of their dreams and being the boss of their own life and, really understanding themselves and working through whatever is not them. And so that led to Spiritual Boss Babe. I've always been into the woo stuff, the mystical, energetics, all of that stuff for as long as I can remember. And I just had this feeling that there were other women out there like me. So that's why I decided to start my community. I was like, there's got to be other women out there like me who are, into spirituality and into the quote unquote out there things and on this path of answering their calling and doing what they love and supporting other people. And I want to bring them together. And so that's kind of how it all started. And then I just started really just supporting other people in the way that I've supported myself, and it's hasn't stopped.
Yeah, I really love that. And I do agree with you. Like, your purpose finds you from following what you love. A part of me thinks more of my purpose is like helping people live a life that's confident and self-expressed. And through that, I did different things. So like
Mm-hmm.
I also did I have a clothing line that helps you be
Cool.
self-expressed. And then I also did health and fitness, but I never felt like that was my purpose though. So that's kind
Yeah.
of where I like kind of am like, when I was doing marketing coaching, I knew I was good at it and I did enjoy it, but I felt like there was something missing for me. Like I felt like it wasn't the right thing.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I guess what I mean is when we follow the little steps that we're being led,
Mhm.
it we grow and we acquire skills that support us in the more expanded version of whatever we're choosing to do. And so, my experience with the fitness stuff, that showed me a lot about working with other people. Being in front of a room teaching fitness classes helped me with public speaking, you know. Yeah, and so I believe that there's a theme in essence of the things, and the more we work on ourselves and become who we truly are, the more impact we can make through our message and whatever way we choose to show up and share our gifts.
100%. And I think making it not like a scavenger hunt, like I have to
Yeah,
find my purpose. I
that was
have
me for a
to.
while.
Me too. And I think getting out of that and just following that next step did lead to it. And I'm
Hmm.
still on a journey and it's ever changing. But yeah, getting out of that, I have to find it. Like each step is the right step.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So your community was huge. You have over 25, or how many people are in your community on Facebook?
There's almost like 30,000 in the Facebook, which
Mhm.
I actually don't fully, I prefer Instagram these days, to be quite
Yeah.
honest with you. But yeah, like there's about 30,000 women in there, and it grew exponentially in back in the day, like when it first started. It was wild.
Yeah, it did. And it was like one of the top Facebook groups. It was like one of the
Mhm.
few I made sure to go into, look at people's posts. But yes, I too am way more connected to Instagram these days. And Facebook is kind of like it's just automatically posting there. But I'm curious, how did you get that massive growth so quickly at the beginning?
Well, it wasn't super quick in the very beginning. There was about a year where I was building it and I just was consistently showing up and doing lives and figuring out like what would support people the most. Why would they want to be in the community? How can I make this a place where people really love to come to? And after about a year, that's when it started really growing, like by 1,000 people a week at
Mm.
one point. It was kind of wild. And I just always showed up as if there already were thousands of people in there and
Yep.
just would talk about whatever I felt pulled to talk about and would engage with people and really be curious to know like what they were going through, what they're resonating with, what would support them in wanting to be part of the community and so on, and really learned a lot in general about creating a community on any platform, really, because that's how I do it everywhere. And, that's how I also just have this belief, I think, that it's really easy to grow an audience. I don't know
Ooh.
where that came from, but it's
Yeah.
always been there. Yeah, it's just always kind of been there. Thankfully, I
Yeah.
just find it very easy to grow an audience.
I
And
love that belief, and I'm like going to challenge myself to take on that belief.
yeah, it's just really easy. It just focus on showing myself, sharing my stories, connecting with people, being of service, making my space a fun place to come, whether it's on Instagram or a podcast or wherever, where people, it gives them a feeling, it gives them takeaways, things to implement. And so, of course, they want to come back or tell other people to check me out, and because they're getting so much value out of it. And so, I just keep that in mind on any platform, really. And yeah, and I have that belief.
Ooh, I'm going to work on that, and I'm going to call myself out and also ask what you think. So, I think a big part of my struggle is I'm such a marketing, like I was in corporate marketing and how to do things in the right way and the wrong way. And I've been struggling with these beliefs for a long time. And even my marketing brain is like, okay, work backwards on the goal always. Okay, I want to sell coaching around sexuality. And then I'm like, oh, well, I can't talk about what I'm yearning to talk about right now, which is actually, I was just thinking about this, dating and relationships. And so I kind of like get to in my head of like, oh, but is this going towards the goal? But then when I have showed up and I have just talked about what's on my heart and what I want to share with the people, things tend to work out. And I have been growing way more right now because I'm just enjoying it and I'm spreading connection and fun and joy. So I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
What is your human design? Do you know?
I'm a generator.
Okay. So do you know your numbers by any
I
chance?
think it's a 3-5
3, 5. Okay.
sacral center.
Okay. Well, generators in general, it need to be in their joy.
Yeah.
And it's really important for you to be embodied in what's
Mm-hmm.
bringing you joy, what's lighting up your sacral. And so if it's really lighting you up to talk about something that you're not talking about, then I would talk about it. It doesn't mean you can't share things that have to do with your program. You can mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you may share that thing that you're like feeling that pull to share, and you notice maybe you really hit home for some people that didn't see your stuff before, or they've been following you, but that one thing makes them lean in more because they're like, damn, I could so resonate with that, or oh, that's exactly what I needed to hear. And then maybe they'll start seeing your other stuff, or they'll just like feel, more connected in a way, if that makes sense. So we don't really always know how things are going to pan out. um I think that it's important to be both strategic and also freaking authentic, and
Yeah.
like let it be, like have space for the masculine structure but also the feminine flow. If you're feeling called to share something, let yourself share it. That's my take on it.
Yeah. That's actually, it's always a back and forth with me. This like structure, feminine, and like just kind of like going back and forth. So I have really been able to balance it for the most part, but sometimes I get in my own head. So that was great advice. And I have attracted people that just, they're like, oh my gosh, you twerk and you're a business coach. I want to hire
Mhm.
you. So it's like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like just because people are attracted to people who they are similar to.
Yeah.
And so when you can show more of who you are in a multitude of ways, or through your beliefs, your personality, your stories, like just different ways that you're showing and up and sharing, then you'll be able to attract more of your people.
Yeah. Which is what I've been doing really well right now. But the conversion is a little lower than normal, but my growth is great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's that back and forth kind of like structure and fun. So kind of playing with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you grew really fast. And at some point, how did you keep up with the momentum?
Well, there's been ebbs and flows, just like anyone on the journey. And I would say that it's been a lot of inner work for sure,
Uh-huh.
because a lot of things come up on the journey, no matter what stage you're at or where you're at or how much money you're making or whatever. And there's always going to be new growth edges that happen. And
Mm-hmm.
so I would say, to answer that question, I've just been deeply committed to my own personal growth and expansion. And I have also realized certain things that didn't feel super great to me anymore and shifted them,
Yeah.
because a lot of things have shifted in the industry as well, that are not this, it's not the same as it used to be. People are, um, people who are in our audience and stuff are also different. They want more authenticity. They want more realness. They're
Yeah.
tired of the big promises and like the not, and then not being delivered on. They're tired of seeing the same old shit, everybody sounding the same. It gets freaking boring.
Yeah.
They're tired of doing that themselves. If you're supporting other entrepreneurs that I'm sure you are listening, they're tired of feeling like a freaking robot and feeling inauthentic. And so the more we can really commit to not only our own inner work and being who we truly are, but also commit to showing up in our business and with our work in a way that feels really congruent on the inside, that's how you keep up the so-called momentum. And also be okay with the ebbs and the flows, because all of this stuff about, racing to the next milestone, it just keeps you in ego, and it keeps you out of the heart and soul led leadership, which is what the new paradigm is, which is what we're seeing now, I believe, where the industry is going through basically a purification process. And so the only way to keep up momentum is to be your authentic self, in my personal experience and opinion.
Yeah. Ooh, I have a good question now. So I will say I started in coaching and I trusted my guides. Like, this leads to another question, but I trusted the process. I trusted, like, okay, to be able to provide for myself, offer longer commitments, 3 to 6 months, 6 weeks or more. That's what I started with, and then focused on 3 months and charged higher tickets so I could be supported as well. I will say I trusted it and it worked. I made 5K clients, I made 10K clients. And looking back, my first couple years, I did get better client. That's not the right word. I got clients that showed up and did the work and got the most massive transformations. But I will say, after COVID hit, I've been the coach that now I almost care too much, and I stopped doing that. And I am in a very struggle point right now where I want to help everyone and give discounts. And now I'm so can't even get back to that point where I used to sell high ticket. Like, my brain is trying to help everyone, and I've been discounting for so many years. That's the habit. So what are your thoughts on that? And how do you get back to being able to, to be honest, I'm looking for a job right now because I can no longer provide for myself because I've been discounting. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that? And have you ever gone through something like that?
I would say my thoughts on that. I've definitely gone through experiences of feeling like I used to be doing better, and then I wasn't. So I get that. And I believe that there's so much growth in that experience, because it's like, okay, what do I really desire, and how do I really desire to serve? Did you enjoy serving in that way? Did it feel aligned for you, or does it no longer feel aligned to you for you anymore?
It did feel aligned at that point. So yeah.
What caused you to stop?
The growth and transformation wasn't as big. It would only get them a part of the way. And they didn't show up as in trust and as in let's go balls to the wall, let's do the work. It was more half-assed and kind of in 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And then, yeah, didn't get the transformation that they desired.
Mm, maybe you wanted to, maybe you want to charge more even.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that you can do to get back there. Um, I feel like maybe it would be really helpful to take a pulse on your people again and see what is it that they really want. Like, what do they really, really, really desire? What are they struggling with right now? What are they, what's keeping them up at night, if anything? And get to really know them again. Maybe they've grown and shifted from that point. I don't know when that was. And maybe you've grown and shifted. And so I think it would be really helpful to connect with a few people that you've already connected with, or maybe do some polls on Instagram stories, or however you can connect with some people and legit get to really know what's going on. And for your ideal clients, people who you feel would be aligned for your work, and have a conversation with them or get to know a little bit more about them, and you can kind of get a greater understanding of how you can bridge the gap through your work. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe there's just a simple shift in how you're conveying the power of your work through your message. It could be a multitude of things. maybe you didn't realize that this one thing is like a common theme that they're like really struggling with, and you weren't talking about that a lot. So I would do something like that. I would also test out small things too, like something that you would really love and that you feel would be really helpful, like just because it would excite you. So you could do like smaller things, like less than $100 or something like that. And it could be any kind of price, just something to bring people into your world, share something that's really fucking exciting to you that you're amazing at, that you can give them a really powerful breakthrough or something, and will support them in getting to really connect with you more. So I would maybe test some stuff like that and reconnect to what you loved about when you were working with these higher ticket clients, higher paying clients, whatever. Like maybe there's a different vision you have for them. Like you said they didn't go all in, they went half in. Maybe that's a cue for you to also get like reconnect to who you're wanting to serve. Maybe you're like, all right, she's a badass who's, thriving in this area of her life, but she's struggling in the relationship department. Like she's having mediocre sex. I don't know. Like I'm just making shit up.
Yeah, no, yeah.
She
Love
knows she's,
that.
worthy of so much more and like blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't know, maybe, yeah, get more connected to
Yeah.
the.
Yeah. No, I've been shown to keep doing that. Like almost that meditation work, that like really self-reflection and like deep work is going to help me shift instead of just the doing. So it's like another sign of like, okay, you just got to do it. You got to make the time.
Yeah.
But I love that. I'm curious, what is or who is some of your biggest mentors? Do you have one, two, three, whoever they are? I'd love to hear.
I've worked with a lot of people in my time. I would say, I'm trying to think. I've taken so many different programs and courses. Honestly, I know this might sound cheesy, but two of my greatest mentors are also some of my closest friends, and they're also the most amazing coaches and facilitators. My friends Ta and Cole Whitty. They've been my friends for over a decade. I've done pretty much everything of theirs. And hands down, they're the most, and I'm not just saying this because like they're my friends. I wouldn't be the woman I am today if it hadn't been for them. And I truly mean
Cold with
that.
a K.
Yeah. I share about them all
Oh,
the time.
yeah, she's been on my podcast a
Oh
long
yeah,
time
yeah.
ago.
And her husband Ta, like they are a godsend. And so, I I'm a super fan.
Yay. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. You can learn from your friends. You can learn from your biz besties. Like, I like that you said that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they truly, truly, truly care and they go so deep. So
Mm,
anything they do, I fully support and I love sharing their stuff too.
yeah. Do you have any big mentors that are popular that you look up to or
I haven't
follow?
really, I went through a couple phases of that, but I kind of never really got super into that because I feel like a lot of that is pedestaling, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, sure, I've followed a lot of the people that many people put on pedestals, but I kind of quickly just stopped following a lot of people, to be quite honest with you, because I could sense, and I love what everyone's doing, but I could sense a little bit of distortions in a lot of things. And so I just like kind of keep into myself. I love, I used to really be into Jim Fortin stuff. You know, Jim Fortin?
I don't actually.
He does a lot of subconscious mind reprogramming
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
Ooh,
But
nice.
yeah, several different people, I would say. Um, but yeah, I'm really over the pedestaling stuff in the industry, and I feel like a lot of that's been going on. So yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm all about like there's no hierarchy.
yeah, I love that. I love that mentality, and that you said that on my podcast. Like, yes. And I say I don't have very many coaches that I would even hire. And I would hire a coach that I even feel that is on my same level, but they could help me grow. Or
Exactly.
they're like ahead in certain areas, but maybe not in other areas. I totally
Mhm.
agree with that. Somebody that I love is Amanda Francis. That's about the only one that I
Oh
can stick
yes.
with, that she doesn't put me in a box. She doesn't
Hmm.
say there's one way. She doesn't say this is the right way. And that's really the only coach that I've been able to feel that way with. Everybody else, I
Hmm.
feel like kind of like says there's one way or this is the way and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it like gives me the ick. I have a lot of coaches that I love, but yeah, she's the only one that makes me feel like I can trust myself.
Nice. Yeah, she's been in the game for a hot minute.
Yeah,
I've
she's
had a
one of my
lot of
favorites.
amazing coaches on my podcast too. Like
Yeah.
I've just connected with, yeah, there's so many amazing people in the industry. It's like so
Yeah.
cool. And I love seeing the different ways that people share their work and share their gifts.
Yeah.
And I think that it's really cool because I find that there's oftentimes, pretty much all the time, a similar theme of being who you came here to be.
Yeah.
Like at the core of it. And it's like we
Yeah.
all do it in like these different, cool, unique ways. And I think it's really awesome to see.
Yeah. Me too. I think most coaches that really help you tap into that, their clients, they are amazing. Like anyone who helps them do it in a way that works for them, oof, yes. That's where
Hmm.
I don't like other coaches that put people in boxes and say there's one way, because you watch their magic die. And
Mm.
that's what I've had to go through, is like being coached by a super high ticket coach. And they're like, this is the way. This is the only way. You have to do it this way. You have to sell on the call, blah, blah, blah. All these rules. I
Yeah.
felt like were death. And that's where I struggled the most. And my
Hmm.
biggest struggle in 2019 was when I did that, when I felt like I wasn't enough. I was doing it
Yep.
wrong. There's only one way. And I got depressed. And
I
so,
feel.
yeah. What's been one of your biggest failures? Or, oh, sorry, did you want to say something about that?
No, no, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay.
One of my biggest failures or things around that, like kind of what you were saying.
It could be
Because
anything.
I've had my experiences too where I felt like I was doing the things that we learn, a lot of things that we've learned in the industry. And I realized it didn't always feel good to
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm.
And um I feel like a lot of it is just this old paradigm way of doing things and looking at things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I've had launches that nobody signed up before.
Same.
I mean, sure, everybody has. And so I remember the first time that happened, or like the second time. The first time was like two people, and I was like celebrating, like, okay, cool, like I'm just gonna show up like I normally do. And then another time there was nobody, and I remembered in that moment I had a choice. I could either let that make, like, I could make that mean something about me and my work and how much I quote unquote sucked or whatever stories, or I could just be like, you know what? Maybe now is not the time for this thing. Maybe there's something different that wants to come through me. Maybe there's a better, more fun way that I could share about this. Maybe they needed to hear something else, or is this really what I want to offer right now? And I asked better questions and grew a lot from that because I was like, you know what? Fuck this. This means nothing about me or my work or, you know, the results that people get from working with me or anything like that. Um, and yeah, it always has helped me grow whenever I've experienced quote unquote failures, even though I don't believe we can fail unless we like totally throw in the towel, but we're not doing that.
Yeah. In fact, today I reshared a reel on Instagram with Ed Sheeran, and he was talking about you don't learn from success. You learn from failures. Like that's when you get their biggest lessons. And I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. And while I'm going through some like shifts and shit, I'm like, what is this teaching me? Let's look for the lesson. Oh my goodness. Looking back on all of your career, all of your life, what's one of your biggest failures?
I would say when I was personal training and I started to feel like I was shifting and wanted to do something different, but at the same time, I had a few clients move and I was doing everything you can imagine. I was literally walking around freaking New York City with flyers everywhere. I was going to different businesses, like promoting my personal training shit back in the day. And then I got scammed out of thousands of dollars from a psychic. It's a whole other story for a whole other day. And I ended up getting a job again. I started bartending again. And so I was bartending on the weekends and still had some of my clients, but I felt like such a failure because I had been self-employed for a year and a half. And I never thought I would work for anyone again, but I was
Yeah.
just like, well, I got to do what I got to do. And
Yeah.
so I started bartending again. And then I kind of made peace with it. And I was like, you know what? It's not forever. It's obviously a stepping stone. It's supporting me right now. In New York, you make a lot of money bartending. So it was like easy. I could still have a lot of time to focus on, okay, what is next for me? It ended up being like a good 2 years, I think, that I went back to that, but I was still training people on the
Mm-hmm.
side and teaching fitness classes. And then I moved
Mm-hmm.
across the country. But for a hot minute, I felt like a huge failure because it felt really out of alignment to be back doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I grew so much from it. And that's when I was introduced to psychedelics and plant medicine. And that's when I was like, okay, there is something more that I'm supposed to do. And so it was kind of like the universe is like putting a fork in the road, like, yo, we got to regroup. No,
Yeah.
you're not happy about this, but and so, yeah, that what I would say was the biggest
Yeah.
experience because it was
That's,
I reached my dream of being self-employed in New York City. I was making like 10-15 grand a month for a little while,
yeah.
and and then I was also spending it
Mm-hmm.
and investing in my business, renting different studios to train my clients to do my boot camp, and then it felt like it came crumbling down, but it just was like a redirection.
Yeah. That is so funny that you said this today. So I've been working in my business full time 6 years, paid for everything by myself. I haven't worked for anybody. And now I'm to this point where I'm like, fuck, I need to get a job. It's been 6 years. Even like pulling up a resume feels like a big slap on the face. Like, wait, I have to fill out this fucker again. Like, I thought I was over this. And I made over 6 figures last year. And I'm like, okay, what lesson? What lesson? I'm still in the muck in it of it, but it feels like a big failure to like even look for a job,
Yeah,
even
and
to
I
pull it up. Yeah.
I totally get it. I've totally been there. And I've even had moments on this journey where I'm like, you know, um what I would say is I think that we need to let go of the shame around supporting our fucking nervous system. If you
Yeah.
need to get another job to support you as you continue to build, do it. Like for
Yeah.
your own nervous system to be able to even have the capacity to,
For
rebuild from a solid foundation. You
yeah.
could either do that, or, I mean, it's really up to you. You could do that, or you can learn different ways to regulate your nervous system and be like, you know what? I'm going to fucking do this. And like, come up with resourceful solutions that get you creative, that support you in showing up in a different energy where you're showing up from the energy and identity of like, yo, I'm, a high level coach. My clients get amazing results, blah, blah, blah. And you're like emanating a different energy that is calling people forth. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I would say that it could be a this and it's like
Mm.
don't beat yourself up if you do choose to find something additional to support you. And or is there a way that you can get yourself all in again, energetically, get creative, because you might have to do something different than you've done before.
Yep.
People are, and you're not the only one going through this, by the way, like at all. People are more, what's the word? You got to really understand what they want and bridge
Yeah.
that gap with your offers and have different types of ways that they could connect with you. All business and sales are is relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And so the more relationships you have, the easier it is for these aligned clients to find you. So how can you give more people more opportunities to really get to know you and connect with you and be in the room with you? Maybe that's a live Zoom class or something, or going on live more, or, getting on calls and like, whatever different ways that you can connect with people more.
Yeah. Oh, this is so synchronistic. Yeah, I've realized that I'm going through a shift. And it's funny because that's what you said. You were like in fitness and then you had a shift. Mine was marketing. Like I've sold high ticket with marketing. I have the biggest confidence in marketing. I went to school. I did it for years. I know the shit. Like I feel so fucking strong in that area. And even though I'm like naturally better at like confidence and sexuality, it's like, oh, I don't have the certifications. I didn't go to school for it, but I know that that's my next step. But charging high ticket for that is like so fucking scary for me. And that's kind of what I've been teetering on back and forth. And so you just like being like, yeah, I just had to like do this and stabilize my system. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
very
And then also,
realistic.
if you can't, because it is important to really be able to get behind your prices.
Yeah.
Just because you charge high ticket in marketing doesn't mean you're able to energetically fully get behind it right now. And that's fine. It doesn't mean
Sure.
that it's not worth that. It's just you got to get yourself behind it more. And
Yep.
so, you know, um, finding different ways to offer something that you can get behind would be probably
Yeah.
really beneficial.
I
And
100% agree with
listening
that.
to people's experiences and results, and then letting that support you, and anchoring into your knowing about it.
Yeah, I love that. So true. The only time I've ever sold at certain prices, I was so behind it. Sometimes I was scared and it was scary to share it, but I knew I was behind it and that I was ready. So yeah, I've been figuring out that. So I love that story and I'm going to do that work as well.
Yeah.
Um, what is your new shift journey purpose? I've felt some shifts with you as well, and I'm curious, what are you shifting into?
I'm curious when you felt those shifts.
I don't know quite when, but I have felt them in the Facebook group, and then recently I started seeing your posts again. I don't go on Facebook, so I just barely recently started seeing your posts again on Instagram because that's where I'm at.
Mm.
And I feel like your energy and that you're like also changing to something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I just asked because I have gone through a really, really big shift recently.
hmm
And I'm always curious when people say that. I
hmm
find it fascinating actually,
Yeah.
because like when people are like, your energy shifted, or
Yeah.
people I've known from a while ago will come back into my field
Yeah.
when my energy shifts. I'm like, this is so interesting. It's like
Yeah.
really an
Because I
energy
haven't really
game.
seen you around for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went through a really big shift recently where I was realizing similar patterns in my life, in relationships, in business, just around feeling not good enough, not worthy, like the core wound. But it kept coming up a lot and in different ways. It wasn't like I was like, oh man, I'm not good enough, but like it was showing up
Yeah.
in my behaviors, in different fears that were coming up, in the way that I showed up. And it was like this undertone. And I was like, what what is ready to move through me? Because I'm ready to let this shit go. Like I'm really ready to let it go. And so I had an experience with plant medicine, and I basically, it was crazy because I teach this embodiment practice called the empowered method.
Mm-hmm.
And it's music, movement, mantras, and mirror work, and sometimes microdosing mushrooms. So that's why it's the M dash powered method. And it's an embodiment practice that I've been doing for years that combines, mirror work, mantras, and using your vocal cords to speak things, and
Mm-hmm.
using the vibration of your voice because it's very powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Music because it gets you in an empowering state. Movement because you get to move energy. And microdosing for obvious reasons because it rewires on a cellular level. And so I had this experience in medicine, and I was like, I'm ready to let this go. And through the whole experience, which was wild, I realized my empowered method was playing out without
Mm-hmm.
me doing it. So my body started doing these different movements, and I was just listening to my body's intelligence and moving and doing different positions. And my body started moving in different ways, like just moving trauma out and such. And at one point, I got up and I sat up and I started saying some stuff, just empowering things that I was saying, like, of course I'm valuable. It wouldn't be any other way. Duh.
Yeah.
And I just like kept saying things. And my friend who was holding space for me, so I was doing the mantras, the vocal stuff is what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Then my friend who's holding space brings this mirror in front of me. And I was like, oh shit. And so as I was, because she was like, don't say it to me anymore, like say it in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
So she brought the mirror up, and I was just like, oh shit, like this is like my whole freaking body of work right here, like in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kept saying it in the mirror, and I would notice incongruencies in my body as
Mm-hmm.
I was saying it in the mirror. I would see exactly where it was, like this one's over here. And so
Mm-hmm.
I kept saying it and saying it and saying it. And then all of a sudden, light language, open channel, boom, automatic started happening to seal it in on a DNA level, which is also something I do in my work now with people. And so after that happened, my body kept doing these weird movements, and I was able to move a huge chunk of energy out of my stomach area. I mean, it was like a bowling ball size. And
Wow.
I'm serious. Like when I moved this out from different movements that I was doing and breathing and all this stuff, I literally felt more room in my intestines and shit. Like I literally felt more room in my body. And along with it, there were flashes of like memories. So the energy that I was holding was linked to um, my identity in a way. It was linked to who I believed myself to be, and it was impacting my belief system, my actions, the way that I showed up. Like, so when I not only did I physically feel like a different person after I let it go, I knew I was a different person because whatever I let go of was linked to who I thought I was being. That was not actually my truth, if that makes sense.
Wow. No, I love that. I got body
Yeah.
chills. I did do her M method workshop. I haven't fully gone through it, but I've like gone pieces and I've like done the meditation multiple times, but I always fall asleep. So I need to do it like in the day with maybe some caffeine in me because I just relax into it. You're very calming, but
Thanks.
I'll
Yeah,
need to do it fully.
I'm doing another live class on the 21st, and doing so basically that experience
Yeah.
happened, and I just had this full on, like,
Wow.
everything came together, and it still is. And so I'm now I put the empowered method into an experiential class that I'm
Mhm.
doing every month, where it's
Mhm.
movement, music, vocal stuff, quantum healing, uh and different types of journeys to move energy out of the body and really anchor into what it feels like to be the full you who is open to receiving in a multitude of ways, who is living her dream life, etc. But like, how do we get that in your body and feel it and move out whatever is blocking you? Because that literally was blocking me. Like, it was physically, energetically blocking me because it was taking up so much space in my body and in
Yeah.
my field and
Yeah.
in my identity. And so anyway, yeah, this is all my next evolution has to do with more embodiment, which is already what I've been teaching and sharing.
Yeah.
But now it's like just a deeper, expanded version of it. And I'm doing a retreat too around it.
Ooh, yeah, exciting. Do you want to tell everybody about it? It's in July, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
July 13th to the 16th. Thank you for letting me share it.
Yeah.
In Austin, Texas, the Empowered Retreat. It's a 3-day experiential journey where it's all around taking off the fucking mask and like really liberating yourself, your expression in a multitude of ways, like letting go of the beliefs, the constructs, the identities that aren't serving you, letting go of hiding the most potent version of you. And we're also going to be like doing a lot of transformational work. And then it's okay, how do we channel that into the next evolution of our soul's work? Because I come across a lot of people who are doing amazing things, who are already serving people and sharing stuff, but there's another layer of them that they're hiding still, or that they're afraid to fully show up in. And I'm talking about people who've been in it for a long ass time to people who are just starting out, like
I
it
feel
really
like
doesn't.
even the people who have been in it longer have a harder time because they have all those like
Exactly.
identities.
Yep. Yep. And so this is about taking off the freaking mask and like really allowing um God, your higher self, whatever, really channel through you, like being a
Yeah.
clear channel for the work that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's happening in July, in August, in Austin, in August,
Austin,
July in
Texas.
Austin.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can add the links in there. And yeah, maybe we could we'll talk after the thing, but maybe we could talk a little bit more on live or something.
Oh,
But
that'd be awesome.
yeah, I this year I feel like synchronicity and like just the collective. I've also been pushed literally like opportunities at my feet to do more embodiment and dancing. I'm a fucking like
Mhm.
I'm a twerk class instructor, which I pushed away with a fucking like I had a wall up. I always said no because I just like I'm not a dance instructor. I'm not a dance
Mm.
instructor. I went to college
Mm.
and I'm a business owner. But now I've just been letting things in, and now I have opportunity after opportunity of really getting into movement and dance and expression and embodiment at my feet to host workshops with companies backing me. And I'm just like,
Nice.
okay, I'll take them. I'll take them. Everybody's like, take your opportunities. And I'm like, okay, take my opportunities. So it's just like a shift, and it's like kind of a collective thing. We need that movement, we need that
Mhm.
expression, and getting into your body is just so healing.
Yeah, it is. And so many people are disconnected from their body because they're in their mind all the time. They're worried
Mm.
about the future, they're hung up on the past. Like, there's a lot of shame about expressing yourself,
Yep.
from the society we've been brought up in, cultural, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, I I want myself and everyone else to be in this energy of dancing like no one's watching. Imagine what your business would look like and feel like too if you showed up in your business like you're dancing like no one's watching.
Yeah. I do that and it
That's like,
feels amazing. It feels expression, it feels fun. I just go online. It's a
yeah,
joy. I love it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's freedom.
Yeah. Freedom, that like full sense and feeling. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've asked most of the questions that I wanted to ask. I would say, what's one thing that you wish you knew at the beginning of your career? Like, what would you tell yourself when you were maybe struggling the most or you were young? What would you tell yourself?
I think that I would have told myself that I could trust my intuition 1,000%, because I
Mm,
remember there was a long time in the beginning where I thought everyone else had this special secret. They must know something that I don't know. They must be doing something that I don't know, that I'm not doing, blah, blah, blah. And then, and I found out time and time and time again that, and I say this in a way that it's like nobody knows what the hell they're doing, but they also do. They're just doing like in their own way. And nobody has a secret answer or something that you don't have within you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say to trust yourself 1,000% and your intuition. And when you're seeking support from someone else, make sure it's someone that you really feel aligned with, that supports you in being more you.
Yeah. And always ultimately come back to you. Like I always get support and coach and guidance and help and listen to dating tips. But one thing that I've been like pushed to share with people is always ultimately come back to you and how you feel, because then you start losing yourself in all these different rules and you don't want to lose yourself and your guidance.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, one last thing that is right here is, what role would you say faith plays in your life and your business?
A big role. Yeah. Like I definitely have had my doubts and fears along the way, and I just always surrender them to reconnecting to who I truly am and what I truly am, and just trusting that everything always works out in the best case scenario, and that I'm here for divine purpose, like each and every one of you. And it's important that we allow that to come through us and just keep our faith.
Awesome. Well, I loved this interview, and it was very synchronistic when you did it with me. It's funny because I think I messaged you like a year ago and you messaged me back, but then it just didn't work. And then it worked in the right divine timing. So
Nice.
I love it.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Where can everybody find you?
Yeah. So I am on Instagram at the spiritual boss babe, or you could just go to stephb360.com. That's stephb360.com. Everything is there. My website, podcast, free gifts, like all the things are in one spot, and it's really easy.
Awesome. I love that. And the link will be in the bio to make it super easy for you. Thank you so much, Steph, for being on here. It was a joy and just divine timing. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tia, for having me.
Yeah.